In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, I am very grateful that we have this opportunity to meet again and discuss a very important topic, which is very much central in our theology and spirituality, and that is about community and how to build community. It seems to me that in the Muslim scholarship, it might be fair, I'm not saying definitely, but it might be fair to say that not enough attention has been given to community building. And at least I can say this is my experience. We have been more thinking about personal relation with God and building yourself, spiritually, and trying to have closer relation with God. And of course, in this process, to be kind to others, to care for others, and maybe to sacrifice, to give preference. There are different concepts that we have here about muwasat, about ithar, all these things. But it seems that for the most part, we didn't pay that much attention to the fact that actually your relation with other people is very central in your relation with God and with yourself. Even with yourself, you have lots of aspects that only in a community life they can flourish. Or if there are problems, only when you live in community you can sense those problems. So maybe I have hidden problems that they never come out if I am alone, and trying to improve my spirituality. They come out when I am challenged with people that I live close with. Even neighbors and people outside. Sometimes it's very difficult to live with them in peace, but when you live very close as a community, and you are almost every day and in everything, what to eat, what to say, what to do, how to, plan everything, the finance, everything is possibly a challenge. So it seems to me that we have to really understand the significance of social aspects of spirituality and how God has given us lots of potentials for growth when we come out of our shell and we want to live together. Family life is very clear and obvious, and Islam puts great emphasis on family. And for us, family is very, very important. But I think Islam also wants us to look at community as a bigger family. So it's just like an extended family. But a family that now goes beyond blood relation, a family which is built based on faith and common love for God. And this growth from person to family and then from family to community is a very big step for our growth and for actually decrease in our selfishness. because our growth is by limiting our ego. Your ego is less challenged when you are alone, is more challenged when you are in family, and is very much challenged when you are in a community. Yes? So it make life very difficult, but actually this is good for us. It's like, for example, if you only walk on a flat road, it doesn't give you that much of exercise that when you climb mountain. To live in community is like climbing mountain. And if we manage to live in community with constant remembrance of God and constant concentration on our spirituality, but inside the community, then we can make our community a nucleus for going further and build a united humanity. But there is no way, in my understanding, to go from very good individuals to united humanity, or even from good families to united humanity. We need communities, because it is in community that you grow in different aspects, and can make a brick. Before that, we are too little. With just individuals or families, we cannot build the wall. But if we have communities of united people, then we can build a united humanity. So community is very, very important. And I think the prophets and messengers sometimes started with building a community. Because, for example, if you look at the case of Prophet Muhammad, although there were other prophets and messengers, but by the time he started, most of the things have been lost and missed, and many deviations have happened. And they made Kaaba, which was raised and restored by Abraham, to be a reminder of unity of God. They made it a place for worshipping idols. So you can see they took it 180 degrees away from its original function. And although the tribe of Quraysh were going back to Abraham, but unfortunately, by no means you could say this is the community of Abraham. So the prophet had to build it again, to build the community. And it was not easy. Physically, many Muslims came together, and as long as the prophet was with them, things on the surface looked very nice, but there were also still deep problems, because the prophet had only 23 years of being with people, and it's very difficult to change people from, head to the feet, in 23 years. There are traces of culture that are built over centuries. And maybe when there is a spiritual vibe, a spiritual power, things are covered. Everyone looks nice because there's a great figure there. But after that, little by little, those things come out. So this is why we see that after the demise of the prophet, things didn't go that well. So the prophet had to build individuals and community. There were prophets who already started within a community, like Moses. Moses started within a community, or Jesus started within a community. But none of these prophets and messengers were, in my humble view, satisfied with the community that they were, belonging. They expected more, but it was very difficult to convince people that there is something more, because we are very much looking at the surface. When we see people, for example, do some rituals and observe certain, I don't know, diet or certain things, we think it's sorted out. But to build community is very, very difficult. And I think the more you work with the community, the more you realize your limits. And even successful leaders, very successful leaders, they know how difficult it is to change community. Because it has to be with love, it has to be with education, it has to be with, people's heart becoming open. It's not something that, by force you can do it. You cannot, you can use force against your enemies, but you cannot use force inside the community. Yeah? You can use force to defend yourself. But this needs patience and love and humbleness. It's very difficult. I was thinking maybe if we want to mention a kind of example, we can say every human being is like a radio set. A radio can function when it is connected to a station. In the secular society, unfortunately, they disconnect the radio from a station. They disconnect them from God. In religious communities, they try to connect the radio to the station. But what we say about community is even greater. It's not a radio connected to a station. It's like phone connected to a network. So it's not enough that every radio is connected to a station. These parallel connections to God do not do justice. Yeah? If you have 100 radios, each of them work on its own. They don't help each other. They don't also challenge also that much each other. Yes, maybe when voice of one of them is high, it challenges the listeners. But we are not even like a radio and a station. We are like phones and networks. Lots of things happen between each person who has this phone. And we can even bring the network down if you don't use it properly. So, this is why in a discussion about Welaya, we say we have a concept of Welaya which is very important, especially for the Shia. I say Welaya is belonging to a camp. It's vertical and horizontal. Your connection with God, of course with the Imam and the Prophet and God, and your connection with each other. We are a network which is vertical and horizontal. And it is only this that can bring all the potentials of human beings out. Unless you are put in a network, all the potentials don't come out. So, building all these relations properly means to build a community. Even the leader of community needs the community. It's not just only members need. The leader also needs, for his growth, to be part of the community. Everyone needs to be part of the community. But I think what is very important for our interfaith relation is that we should have Abrahamic community. We should have godly community that, although we have different pockets, Muslims, Christians, Jews, but there is a level of growth, a level of networking that only when we all become connected to each other under God we can make it. There are lots of openness and lots of growth when I can reach out to a person of another faith for the sake of God. It's a challenge, but if you overcome it, it's a big step of progress. So what I hope we can do is to learn from each other and to help each other in strengthening and building our communities, but also work together to establish a bigger community of the faithful. And without this, it will be difficult to reach united humanity. We need to have this. So thanks to God in our relation with our Focolare brothers and sisters, we see elements and some kind of fragrance of that type of community that we want to reach. And I pray that God would help us continue this journey and understand how can we make this a permanent and concrete, experience, not just a kind of wind or a kind of, fragrance that comes. We want to have a garden that always has this fragrance. Thank you very much.